r/AskReddit. Deep sea divers, please tell us some of your most shocking and frightening anecdotes. I mean, deep sea divers, what are your horror stories? The following video contains a series of anecdotes and stories told by deep sea divers. Each and one of these stories are true. And were narrated with explicit permission of each and every single one of its authors. They all took place in water, where everything and anything is harder, from breathing with a tank to moving and swimming. You might not want to watch this, in case you've got thalassophobia, which stands for fear of the deep and open ocean. Myself, I absolutely am terrified of the ocean. However, I strongly feel that fear in the ocean is a normal fear, but common sense. Every situation here will evoke a feeling of dread, emptiness, danger, and the unknown. Viewer discretion is advised. Without further ado, let's begin. Story number 1.
I was diving under an oil rig between Long Beach and Catalina Island. I was collecting sea scallops at around 60 feet or so, and knowing that there were seals all around, I'd always keep an eye out for sharks. You just can't help but think about them. So I was just about to finish my dive, but I was looking for one more scallop for dinner, and I saw a blurred swoosh right by me, just in front of my face. My initial immediate reaction was shark, but it was just a damn seal playing with me. I literally was screaming underwater for a couple of seconds. Funny thing is I have over 25 locked open water dives. Some at night, mostly around Catalina, and I never saw a shark.
Story number 2.
I was on a night dive looking for a resident, 6-gill shark, when a large grey animal darted past me, but barely illuminated by my lights. It was way faster than I was told this shark would be, and I couldn't quite make out the size. Then it happened again on the other side. Both times, it was in my peripheral vision, barely illuminated by my forward aim spotlight, and very fast. For some reason, when I got to the bottom, I decided to sit on my knees and aim the light in one direction until something happened. As it turned out, the beast was a harbor seal, using the light to find fish to eat. She hung out with us for a while, which was pretty cool experience. We never found the shark, but I did think I was being hunted for a bit.
Story number 3.
My biology teacher told us that she once was swimming in the south of the Philippines because she was trying to find an elusive seahorse, and she went quite deep at night when they are more active, and she got attacked by a shark, and her team got out fast. The next day, they found a turtle that was speeding in health. Shit included, that was pretty big, and it's supposedly the last time she went diving in that area.
Story number 4.
I got the bends once. I was careful, followed my charts and my computer, had appropriate depth and surface time, but I didn't drink enough water, so I was all out of whack. Felt fine until I got home. Mild headache. Then I woke up and it was just pain in my left arm. Elbows, fingers. Couldn't even bend them without bad pain. My headache was intense and I was so dizzy. Called my older, more experienced dive buddy, but I got rushed to the hospital. Docs got me hooked up and fluids, checked my dive logs while the decompression chamber was set up, and then got me in there with a nurse. 8 hours in a tube, about the length of a car, but as wide as maybe a double bed. I was on oxygen and hooked up to an IV, and it was so loud with all the air rushing in. As soon as I got to the death, the pain vanished. It was crazy. I'm fine now, obviously, but I wasn't allowed to dive for a month, which sucked. But hey, the dives were pretty great.
Story number 5.
Night dive on the Great Barrier Reef with my partner who was learning to dive. Myself, about 10 years of diving, and a dive master. First night dive for my partner, who had been hearing from the two of us about how incredible it is. Night diving is one of those amazing, life-changing experiences. Completely different to daytime diving, as the sights and sounds of the reef are radically different. Plus, viewing the reef through just the small areas of light from your torches changes how you process the experience. It's exhilarating and incredibly zen at the same time. As we're settling back to the boat, the sharks, who have been standoffish but curious, as they usually are, come in and one has an inquisitive bite of the dive master's fins. Never seen or heard of sharks getting this aggressive with divers, so the three of us damn near catapulted ourselves out of the water and out of the dive short. I've never been worried about sharks while diving until that moment. Normally they're more afraid of you than you of them, but not this time.
Story number 6. I used to work at an indoor aquarium, or zoo, when I was 19 years old. I dove in a 3-story, 30-foot tank, and one day at work, I was sent to the ER. And that is, by the way, 9.14 meters. To make a long story short, outdoor bodies of water receive ozone, which is O3. Ozone molecules from the sun, but indoor aquariums have to pump that in manually for the fish. You're supposed to pump it in for about 1 hour a day. Unfortunately, a coworker left the ozone pump on for more than 24 hours. I arrived to work and nearly all the fish were dead. Too much ozone, too much oxygen in the gill filaments of the fish, and it kills them and suffocates them. My job was to then go into the tanks and collect the fish so we could do proper necropsy reports on them. Thus, I began setting up my scuba gear in one of those little fake caves, with the fake cave door like you'd see in the black wall of a polar bear exhibit. It's a small space with little ventilation. Ozone is tasteless, odorless, invisible, and highly toxic. And unfortunately, I was unknowingly breathing this in the whole time I was setting up my gear for 15 to 30 minutes. Just like it kills fish by supersaturating their gills, it does the same thing to human lungs. I dove down into the tanks and began coughing more and more the deeper I got. I struggled, but just thought it was a tickle in my throat from the dry, compressed air. After my quick dive, when I got to the surface, my lifeguard left me and I took all my gear off back into the little cave behind the exhibit. It was at this time I couldn't breathe at all and I struggled to catch my breath. I fell to the ground. Managed to grab my radio and get out of the words, "Help! I can't breathe." My coworker found me and took me to an outdoor bald eagle exhibit overlooking the harbor. Fresh air helped, but it didn't get me to 100%, so I was sent to the ER in damn near a wetsuit. I was new to the city, so when I got to the hospital, I was not in their computer records. The person checking me in was having me fill out hundreds of pages of paperwork while I sat across the desk, nearly blacked out. Eventually I stopped, looked at him square in the eye, and I said, "Please get me hooked up to some fucking oxygen!" My boss came to visit me while I was in the ER and asked me to sign all the required OSHA paperwork, but dated a prior date. Sketchy, but I respected him. Oh, and by the way, and this was my 6th day on the job. Neat. Once we got the ozone malfunction all figured out, it ended up being one of the coolest summer jobs any 19-year-old could have. 10 years later, my doctors still have no clue if that ozone will have long-term effects on me. Story number 7.
Well, here is my story. I was diving in a local pond with a group of much more advanced divers, cave divers than I, just an advanced certification at the time. I'm leading the dive as to get used to pressures and responsibilities of heading the procession. They are mentoring me. It is a Texas puddle, visibility 10 feet max, not too deep, maybe 25 feet. The known horrible visibility makes it impossible to navigate by compass. We follow a line, string, put by other divers. These lines go from one sunken item to another. So I know I'm about to hit a small sunken boat. Don't remember which one. There are a few similar in a row in the same state of decay. So I'm first in the group. I get to the boat and see someone's black army boot sticking out from the inner quarters. Curious thing is, it looks like somewhat new, not like items you find on the bottom. Hard to see, too much muck in the water. So I touch the boot, thinking it is by itself, but it won't lift, like it is attached to something heavy. I put my hand further in and feel the leg continuing out. Pants, the calf, and I see the second leg now. Fuck with the big letter F, right? I turn around and show a sign for the emergency ascent to the group behind me. Everyone has a sour face. No one wants to surface, but it is a rule that if one says up, others in a group must abort, no questions. They wanted me to explain with signs why, but it is a diver's sign for a cadaver. I feel like I rush toward the surface, even though trying to stay calm and take time. So we're on the lake surface. I have this adrenaline rush, can't breathe enough. So I tell them there's a body down there. I see rolling eyes from everyone once they see I'm serious. A fun bunch, right? So I describe in detail what I saw. We go down. I don't lead anymore. We make a group search pattern for the line. But once we locate it, we don't know if we should go forward or backwards, as there are a number of boats on the line, and who knows in which the body is in, and how far we've drifted while talking it out on the surface. Well, we find all boats before finding the original one, of course. So our customary leader goes into the cabin of the boat and we wait. I'd say he was rather courageous at this point, went right in. Then he emerges from the cloud of muck and tells us all to surface. So gluing information together from what we learned later on. Turns out the police or some other agency had a body recovery training in the same lake the same day. When they went for lunch, they stuffed their fully dressed, anatomically correct rubber doll in one of the sunken boats for a few hours for safekeeping. Well, I died a little that day.
Story number 8. Oh my, this is my time to shine. I have plenty of anecdotes and experiences diving. I have a couple of things to tell and describe, so let me give you a list. Number 1. First open water dive, shark encounter. Dive buddies left me and swam to surface in Boynton Beach, Florida. Number 2. Cozumel boat running over my friend and missing his head by 2 inches. Do not loiter close to surface in a congested area. Number 3. Idiots keeping lights on at surface. At night dive next to boat attracts jellyfish. In boat after dive I felt like an electrical current. Really bad. This happened in Roatan. Number 4. High pressure hose burst at 15 feet in Cozumel. Nothing like seeing your pressure gauge go to empty in a few seconds. Number 5. Surface under oil tanker in Puget Sound. My head hit bottom. Number 6. On Yongola Wreck, Australia. Holding on to sunken wreck. Hand close to scorpion fish, and other hand had sea snake right around it. Number 7. I had to shoot a cabezon fish in Phuket. It sounded like it was a bit aggressive. Big teeth fish. Spear went in mouth and exited gills, then entered its tail. Spear not out of gun completely, so felt like underwater rodeo. Number 8. Encountering several friendly bull sharks in a blue hole off Belize. Number 9. Encountering a huge tiger shark, or maybe bull shark, after dive, waiting for boat in Turks and Caicos. Boat was a mile away. Just friend and I. Probably the most freaked out I've ever been in my life. Number 10. Friend died in a dive at Cabo. I was not on that dive. I never knew why he died. Number 11. Feeding sharks. We were in long 2-entrance shark cage, which sat on seafloor. Shark decided to join us in the cage, swam in one end and out of the other. I have video footage. This happened in Australia. Number 12. I heard that a diver jumped in water and sunk right to floor 2,000 feet below. Never found him in Cozumel. I have about 550 dives. I'm 63 and I started diving at 20. I have a trillion positive experiences and I intend to dive for another 20 years. Oops, I almost forgot the best one. I was diving with the sharks in Mall of America in Minneapolis. Instructors said, dive in and sink to bottom. At the bottom I saw my young daughter looking at me through the plexiglass. I could see her say, "Look, that's my dad." Just then, my regulator failed. I look at the exit, and there were too many sharks there. I switched to my second regulator, and I decided I should just stay in the bottom. Pretty gross to see your dad being eaten by sharks in Mall of America. I'm glad she did not see that. Thank God for my second regulator.
Why do people dive? I'm serious. It sounds horrible. I find myself holding my breath just reading some stories on here. You couldn't pay me enough to dive. Nope, nope, nope.
Yeah, a few things sucked, but there are literally a bazillion great memories I have, like getting up close to a whale outside Cabo, stingrays, amazing diversity of life, diving in Cozumel in the 80s when nobody knew about it, and bringing fresh caught lobster and cooked on beach with tequila and butter. Butter on lobster, quilter in my belly. I would suggest that you take up snorkeling since it's also awesome. One of my awesome snorkeling trips was with my family to caves you could snorkel through in Mexico.
All of your experiences sound amazing. I've only had fresh fish cooked on the beach once. Went free diving in the reserve off a friend's marae and caught paua, abalone, and kina, which we brought back to the beach, and her dad made paua fritters over a fire with hot butter, and I've never tasted anything so amazing. Kina though, not so much. Glad I tried it, but it was like sucking down a salty yellow tongue.
Amazing! Now I'm really hungry.
Hell no, I'd rather sit down on a cactus with long spines than deep dive in the ocean at night.
Story number 9. Not really deep sea, but deep enough for recreational diving limits. 30 meters without additional training. Buddy of mine is a very experienced diving instructor and avid traveler. He's taught several friends to dive, and then went on extended diving vacations together. This time it was my turn. First, a background. During our training, he's emphasized battle-tested skills. Practice, practice, practice. Because diving can be dangerous, he's seen all kinds of shit, and he wants his friends to be safe divers. Takes all precautions, and often makes training harder than it needs to be, just so you get used to diving under stress. During the lessons, he's told us many a crazy story to scare us straight. One of them was a situation 80 feet down on a night dive in Asia, somewhere where a box jellyfish that was 10 feet tall was inches away from grabbing one of their group. The risk here is that they can sting you bad, get tangled up, but the sting shock usually causes you to clench jaw, scream and spit out your regulator, etc. And in bad cases, it can paralyze muscles for a period. Any of those things can cause you to drown. He very carefully did a come hither motion to the diver to get him to swim forward without looking behind him. It worked, and they got the fuck out of there. Didn't tell the diver what happened until they got back on the boat. Panic is the enemy underwater. Fast forward to my trip with him. I'm recently certified, feeling pretty confident. We are doing a bunch more dives and training to up my experience. We work up to a deep dive, night dive, wreck dive, all in one. You need additional training to do all three specialties. I completed each, and this was my first dive combining them all. I'm super excited. We're diving a sunken oil freighter from World War II at night that is 100 feet depth close to Hawaii. Also, I'm a little nervous as usually, You only introduce 1 or 2 new variables each next dive. But this night dive charter only went once a month and the weather was perfect, so we booked it. So, I'm going to apply several tactics all at once that will take away from being able to fully enjoy the fun of the dive, but whatever, I'm excited to just get to go. We dive down, and the ship is badass. The experience at night only amplifies how cool and kinda creepy it all is. Fuck, the ocean is dark at night. You use flashlights and glow sticks zip tie to your gear to see. Visibility is challenging, but it's like a rave down there, with about 20 of us divers. Your air goes quickly at that depth, maybe 20 to 30 minutes tops, for a newer diver like myself, but I'm soaking it all in. My body and I are swimming by the ship's mast, when I feel a tickle on the back of my neck. Instantly, I think back to that jellyfish story he told me, and I react with reptilian brain. I pull out my dive knife and I start stabbing at the thing that's tickling my neck. I'm not fucking dying to a spineless ass jellyfish. Forget pointing my flashlight at what it is, so I can see it. I just start stabbing the darkness, clearly not thinking straight or calmly. I'm breathing a little harder, tossing around a bit and causing a commotion of bubbles. Body is just staring right at me. After what feels like forever but probably was only 20 seconds, I finally get the sense to kick a circle and shine my line on what's touching me. I'm getting prepared to have to go knife to tentacle with this fucking jellyfish, and I see a massive fucking American flag hanging off the ship's mast. It's clearly been there for a while. It looks weathered, but it's got 7 or 8 fresh new holes in the bottom corner. Fuck me! I'm an idiot! I turn to my buddy, shine my light on him, and he's killing himself laughing. He saw the whole thing. He let me sort out my panic because he knew it would be a good lesson for me. I'm an idiot. We finish up the dive, get back on the boat, and have a good laugh on land. Next day I tell the dive shop I've been diving with the story over a few beers and offer to buy them a new flag. They are killing themselves laughing at my expense and told me not to worry about the flag. The story was worth it. I bought a few rounds for us all to make up for it. I still feel mortified to this day, but it is funny to laugh at now. TLDR, panicking underwater is a bad idea, even if nothing bad happens and all you do is embarrass yourself. Story number 10. Not as much of a horror story for me as it was for my parents, but here we go. TLDR at the end. So, I was around 17 on my first diving safari in Egypt. No, my whole family dives and our buddy system is usually me with my mom and my dad with my brother. This one particular dive, though, my mom and brother weren't feeling well, so my dad and I went ahead and dived together. All good so far. Instructor takes us on a stroll around the reef, but since we are with a fairly new group of divers, he decided to surface early, so as not to risk anyone running out of air. My dad and I check our manometers and decide that we have way too much air in our tanks to waste it, so my dad signals the instructor that we are staying for a bit longer. Instructor gives us the go-ahead, since my dad has over 600 dives and all the qualifications of an instructor. And we scurry off as we watch the rest of the group ascend. So, we are just casually chilling, taking pictures, etc. when I spot a creature that I can only describe as a mini tortilla with a similarly colored shark fin. It was the cutest thing I've seen so far, so I dash towards it and I start taking pictures while my dad follows. The little creature is swimming from one place to another, obviously because it's probably thinking, why is this massive predator with one eye chasing me? but then it finally settles down and I lay on the sand in front of it. As I'm taking really close-up pictures, something in my brain clicks and I go, a cute, unfamiliar creature. I'm gonna pet it. And as my hand is literally 30 centimeters away from the animal, my dad gently pulls me away and signals that we need to surface because we are a bit low on air. We are 30 meters underwater. So we located where the boat is and started ascending. And at every safety stop, my dad is scolding me not to touch any animals. Me, being naive and clueless, ignore him and go about my merry day. So, we finally surface and I go to show our instructor what we saw. And I'm showing him the pictures. As I'm showing him the pictures, he laughs and says, "Yeah, super cute, just don't ever touch it." I naively ask why, and he casually goes, "Oh, because that's an electric ray and its electric discharge goes up to 220 volts and at that depth, it could potentially kill you." My "oh shit" moment was accompanied by my dad yelling in the background, "You're gonna give your mother and me a heart attack! Stop touching everything you see!" TLDR, I almost touched an electric ray at 30 meters underwater, effectively killing myself in front of my father. Story number 11.
I was on a night dive looking for a resident six-gill shark when a large gray animal darted past me, just barely illuminated by my light. It was way faster than I was told this shark would be, and I couldn't quite make out of size. Then it happened again on the other side. Both times it was in my peripheral vision, barely illuminated by my forward-aimed spotlight, and very fast. For some reason, when I got to the bottom, I decided just to sit on my knees and aim the light in one direction until something happened. As it turned out, the beast was a harbor seal using the light to find fish to eat. He or she hung out with us for a while, which was a pretty cool experience. We never found the shark, but I think I was being hunted for a bit.